So the coat pattern of the mass size subspecies, or possibly species, of giraffe varies. Spot shape and size has been linked to calf survival. In a recent research paper by Lee, Cavener, and Bond called Seeing Spots, Quantifying Mother-Offspring Similarity and Assessing Fitness Consequences of Coat Pattern Traits in the Wild Population of Giraffes, Giraffa camelopardalis. So this question, where we calculate the number of giraffes with large spots in the next generation, and then calculate the original and new allele frequencies in their generations, then figure out what allele is being selected for. This is an important concept because it can tell us a lot about giraffe genetics, what traits are being selected for in different subspecies, because a lot of different populations live in different geographic areas with a lot of different implications of that, so we can figure out what traits are being selected and how that varies within populations. We can figure out how giraffes have evolved and are evolving. The reasoning behind choosing this problem, that paper that I read about seeing spots was super interesting because there's something small like a trait like spot size, and you can really take that and it can actually affect the fitness, the survival rates of an animal, and how that animal evolves. So we have this paper, this question here, and it's basically asking which allele, which trait is being selected for. So natural selection happens where one animal with one trait survives more than an animal with a different trait. So large survives more than small spotted animals. We'll see what happens here, how that works out. So first thing, a note real quick, is that large, medium, and small, these are the genotypes for them are homozygous S1 for large, heterozygous for medium, and then homozygous S2 for small, so it's a codominant trait here. And then another quick note, frequency was calculated by calculating the total number of individuals, which turned out to be 210 here, and then dividing each of those individual numbers of individuals by 210. Alright, let's get started. So we'll calculate the number of giraffes with large spots in the next generation. So first we need to calculate the frequency of that genotype in the new generation. So we'll start with S1. You multiply the relative fitness W, which is 1.0, times the frequency, 0.4. And then we do the same thing for medium and small, multiply the relative fitness by the frequency. So 0.85 times 0.36, 0.55 times 0.24. We get some numbers, 0.40, 0.306, 0.132. And that we have a problem because that adds up to 0.838, not 1. We need that number to equal 1, so what we're going to do is we're going to divide those three numbers by 0.838. And we'll get these three numbers here. So these are our new genotypic frequencies. So 0.4773 is the frequency of our large genotype. But we're not quite there yet because we need to know about the number of giraffes with large spots, the number of individuals in that category. So we're going to keep going with that. We take those three numbers that we got, our frequencies, our genotypic frequencies there, and then we're going to multiply it by the number of individuals we had in our new generation. But we don't really know what that is yet, so we're going to take the number of individuals that we got before, that 210, and multiply it by our 0.838. And that gives us around 176. So we're going to multiply those three numbers by 176 to get the number of individuals in each category. So we get a bunch of numbers with decimals, which isn't good because we can't have a decimal amount of a giraffe, so we just cut those off. And we end up with 84 large, 64 medium, and 27 small giraffes in our population, which adds up to 175. So 84 is our new number of large spotted giraffes. But there is an alternative method for calculating this, a little bit simpler. So we're going to work on that. So we have those relative fitnesses that we had before, same thing. But then we actually multiply those by the number of individuals in each category in our original generation. And then we get numbers for that. And then we do the same thing. We cut off the ends because we can't have decimal numbers of giraffes. So we end up with 85 large giraffes, 63 medium, and 27 small, which ends up being 175 individuals in our population. So same total, but we end up with 85 large spotted giraffes in our new generation instead of 84. So just a difference in rounding. We're going to take this 85 and 63 and 27, and we're going to use those numbers along with our original data to calculate our original and new generation allele frequencies. So for our original allele frequencies, I'm going to start off with our S1 allele. So we're going to take that the number of individuals that we had in our S1 category, which is 85, and then we're going to take half of the individuals in our medium category, because each of these categories, each of these genotypes has 2 alleles, but in the medium category, only one of those alleles is S1. So we'll take half of 75, and then we'll divide that whole thing by 210, which is the total number of individuals in our population, and we'll get 0.58. Alright, now on to the S2 allele for our original generation. So same kind of thing, we'll take 50, which is our number of homozygous S2 individuals, half of our heterozygous individuals, so half of 75, and then divide that all by 210, which gives us 0.42. So those are our original allele frequencies. Now we're going to move on to our new generation's allele frequencies, which we figured out those numbers of our population in our last part of the question. So we had 85 large, 63 medium, 27 small, for a total of 175. So we'll calculate those frequencies. So the frequency of the S1 allele, we take that 85 for the homozygous S1, and then we take half of 63, which is the heterozygous genotype, and then we divide that all by 175, which is our new generation's total number of individuals, and we get 0.67. And then we do the same thing for the S2 allele, so 27, which is our homozygous S2, plus half of 63, divided by 175, and we get 0.33. So we have our original allele frequencies over here in red, and then our new generation's allele frequencies over here in blue. And we can see that the S1 allele's frequency is increasing from 0.58 to 0.67 in our new generation, and the S2 allele is decreasing in frequency from 0.42 to 0.33 between these two generations. So that shows us that the S1 allele is being selected for, since it's increasing in frequency. So that means that natural selection is favoring giraffes that have the S1 allele, so more so with those larger animals that have the larger spotted animals that have 2 S1 alleles, and then the medium with 1 S1 allele are also being affected by that.